So many people have asked me when it comes to the live air machine about all the ins and outs of the technology. So I thought I'd cover those a little bit right now and why we chose to include some of these technologies. And so let me take the front cover off. Well, actually, something even about the front cover, we found that if we increase the amount of airflow that comes directly through the front as opposed to the side, like many air purifiers, that we actually got better pull of the dust that's in the air across the room. And it just has to do with the angle, that the angle coming directly in front. So we actually enhance the design of the front, so it's going to pull a lot more through the front of the machine. So let me take the cover off here. And the first thing you see now up here, this is the front control panel, which when you're on the front and you push, this is what's affecting the rate of speed, etc. And then in here is actually the sensor, which periodically you clean. That's the auto sensor, which detects pollen, odor, and dust, which changes the machine to actually adjust for what's going on in the room. But here, what you see here is the pre-filter, and this does two things. First, besides catching your hair and some dust and pollen, and it's washable, it's actually going to extend the life of the HEPA filter. So some of these two washable filters actually serve kind of double duty. They do help take things out of the air, but they also extend the life of the HEPA filter, so you're not replacing it as often. So that's the pre-filter. This is the electrostatic grid. And the electrostatic, what it does is by being positively and negatively charged, it'll pick up any positively and negatively charged particles in the air, especially like your pollution, your carbon from cars. And you'll see after 3 or 4 weeks, you'll see this get kind of dirty. And when you rinse it off or let it soak a little bit in the tub, you'll see all this black gunk come out of it. And that's what's coming out of the air. And this as well is going to extend the life of the HEPA filter. So behind it we have the HEPA filter, and you'll notice on it says outward on the front, and certainly that's the way we've been doing it, but we actually have some customers that like to turn it around because you can actually vacuum this off. This will also pick up dust that the pre-filter doesn't. But in here is the carbon. And what we did is, because carbon is this very absorbent mineral which will actually absorb and hold odors and vapors and smoke from the air, eventually they get filled and then it doesn't really do anything, the carbon at all. So it will need to be replaced. So we just decided to build it into the same filter. So you've got your HEPA here, and HEPA is really the only way to get your dust and your pollen and your solid particles out of the air. You've got to collect them. It'd be great if somebody would come up with reusable or washable HEPA, but that really hasn't happened effectively at all. That's something I actually started working with Corning, the Corning company, which does some work in that area. They actually called me. We did a conference trying to come up with another material that'll be washable, and hopefully we'll do that in the future in the live air machine. It'll probably be more costly, but you won't have to purchase the replacement filters. And so while it says outward, and that's the way we've done it all along, we have found some customers feel they get more life out of it by turning it around, and then they'll occasionally lightly and softly vacuum the back, get the dust off, and you get a little bit more life out of the HEPA filter that way. Okay, so that's your HEPA and your carbon. And this is TiO2, titanium dioxide. And what this does is, it doesn't do anything by itself, but what happens is when the UV bulb here, which is used in hospitals, ultraviolet light can kill viruses and bacteria because of the frequency it puts out. And when it's reflected off of TiO2, it magnifies the effect of UV light, especially because there's so much air flowing through the machine. A lot of it will never get across the UV, just the UV bulb by itself. But when it passes through here, it's like passing through a field that's maybe even 1,000 times more effective than UV alone. And it's going to do a better job in terms of viruses, bacteria, germs, etc., killing those via the frequency that the UV light puts out. So then we have the UV bulb here for your sanitary reasons of the air. And then inside we have a fan that's rated for 100,000 hours. That means you can run it 24/7, which is what I do. I've been running mine in my house about 6.5 years, pretty much nonstop. And so it's a very efficient, very, very quiet motor. It's probably one of the strengths of the machine. And then inside in the back, and actually you can even see it in the top. Well, I'm not going to lean it back, but inside past the fan, so it's gone through these other stages of purification, and then it's going to hit, before it comes out the top of the machine, it's going to hit the negative ion generator. And negative ions are what help a lot of people sleep better and think more clearly, because it's actually in what we need in air to actually live. It actually affects the cells in the body. And it's why often if you go camping on vacation, I'm going to start to put this back together now. When you go camping or you go to the ocean, it's actually why you feel really good. The reason you feel good is it produces a lot of negative ions. Even your shower at home can produce more negative ions, which is often why people get good ideas in the shower. So let's see, we'll put this back together. In another video, I'll show you actually how to wash the washable filters and how to get the most use out of the machine. Oh, here we go. Let's see. There we go. So those are little ins and outs. The reason why I wanted all this technology is that because HEPA does some things, UV does some things, but all the little other technologies all do something a little bit different. So if you've got allergies or asthma, you want to get as many things out of the air as possible.